Hello again, everybody. Dan John here from danjohnuniversity.com and danjohn.net. We have a question from Ben. Once I'm done with the easy strength cycle, I want to take 6 weeks or so and really focus on building conditioning. The overall benchmark would be my mile time of 7 to 8 minutes. I'm currently around 10 minutes. Ben, 10 minutes is not 10 minutes is not very fast. So yeah, I think 7 to 8 minute miles is a really good idea. I'm not tied to this specific benchmark if you think there's a better conditioning indicator. What would your recommendations be for achieving this goal and something you've done in the past that you noticed a big difference? Well, for conditioning, for me, and the things I've noticed the biggest differences is rucking. That'd be either with the heavy backpack or ankle weights and weights in the hands. Those are shockingly good for conditioning. But I think the best thing for conditioning is play. Play. Go find a bunch of little kids and play tag. Go find a bunch of little kids and go play hide and go seek. Get yourself and a bunch of friends playing some kind of sport that gets you in shape. Years ago, I was told by both Coach Mon and the world record holder in the discus that the best off-season stuff you can do would be like handball, racquetball, basketball. And I always worried about the injuries, but when you talk to guys who in the off-season play sports, very often they come in this weird kind of conditioning that you really don't get from more formal stuff. To get your mile down to 7 or 8 minutes isn't going to be very difficult. That's a 2-minute quarter. A 2-minute quarter is not very fast. It's a minute, 200 meters, 220. Honestly, a combination of, just what you read in McCallum's Keys to Progress, go out there and, walk a bit, run a bit, walk a bit, run a bit, and then slowly run more than you walk on those things. If you're going to do 4 laps around a track, just to let you understand, you'd walk 100 meters, 100 yards, and then you would kind of run for 50, 60. And then pretty soon it's 100, 100. And then pretty soon it's 200, 200. And then pretty soon it's 400, 400. Walk, run, walk, run. And then pretty soon you start to string together those runs. That's usually the simplest way to do it. A 7 to 8 minute mile is just not that difficult. I don't know much about you besides what you've written here, but I think, and I do think the mile is a nice test. It's a good distance, mentally doable, easy to improve, easy to see improvements. So yeah, I think you picked a good choice here, Ben. And thank you. We got a question from Wolfie. Trying to get to your strength standards of Sleepless in Seattle. So if you go online, danjohn.net, Sleepless in Seattle. It's an older article, but I just share my basic standards in there. Is it chasing more than one rabbit, trying to improve all the standards at once for a solid 6 to 7? Well, the thing about the whole standards is, and everyone misses the whole point, everyone misses the point, is I have the scale as 1 to 7 on there, and that's Paul Lysingo's idea. But let's just say the scale was 1 to 10, and 10 being, just holy cow, and 1 being, are you kidding me? I think it's better to have a push, pull, hinge, and squat, all 5s, a 5, 5, 5, and 5 standard, than it is to be a 10 in the push and a 1 in the squat. My friend Bill Witt calls that a flat tire. And if you have a flat tire, it's really hard to improve systemically. So I don't mind your idea here. Let me go on to what he says here. Should one specifically train for all the skills? Generally, I'd say yes, but he makes them here. For example, I'm not used to front squats here 5, but could easily progress to 6, skipping the 5. Well, the upside of doing a more difficult exercise like the front squat or the overhead squat is that the mobility, flexibility, your vestibular system, when you have a bar overhead here and you can't see it, your brain is wide awake trying to figure out what to do. So yeah, there is value, and I have no issue, just for the record, that you're already strong enough. But what you might be missing is what you're missing: the flexibility, the mobility, the sense of balance, vestibular system. So yeah, I don't have any issue with you, trying to jump up to 7. If you look at the squat standard, the 7's pretty hard. But the bigger issue is to make sure you have a nice balance. Your push, your pull, your hinge, and your squat are all basically in the same balance. And as you get stronger in one, you get stronger in the other 3. And if you do have an issue and you're a flat tire, let's fix that issue first. Gosh, I hope that helps. Thank you. We have a question from Michael. I think there's a typo here. It took me a few minutes to figure this out, but I'll read it as it's written first. I would value your opinion on a type of workout called phobits. And I thought this through. I'm wondering if it's Fitbits, but phobits. Okay. A set amount of time, 20 to 30 minutes of low intensity work, treadmill, jump rope, bike, rower, etc. Every 2 to 4 minutes, you would stop and perform either strength work, 3 reps of maybe 70 to 80%, or swing snatches 10 to 20, depending on your goal. Then back to cardio. Well, Michael, this reminds me of what Pat O'Shea developed at Oregon State, back when I was a child in the 60s and 70s. And my good friend Mark Twite really emphasizes in his work. Now, Mark, you might know, was the guy who trained the guys in 300. He trained Superman. And it's called IWT, Interval Weight Training. And there's great value in it. I certainly don't do much of it. And Pat and Mark have gone far beyond what I can tell you about. But what I'm seeing here is very similar to what they're doing. Their intensity would be much higher than what, Pat and Mark's intensity were much higher than that. But I like the idea. Back when I was young, this program that you're writing about is really close to what was recommended by the Universal Gym people, where you would do, they didn't have they had a pretty low end exercise bike that they used, an early model. But, you do 30 seconds of cardio, then you do a horizontal press. You do 30 seconds of cardio, and then a horizontal pull. You do 30 seconds, and you go back and forth. This idea of the longer amounts, my only knock on this, what I'm seeing here, would only be the intensity of those work, the weightlifting breaks. If you're doing cardio for 20 minutes, which we do it here at the house. I mean, we'll go for a heavy hands walk and come in and press. We mix walking with presses. Our Friday workout, it's not 20 minutes, but it's close. So I'll do up to a total of 20 presses, and then about what would it be, about almost a half a mile walk, and then another round of about 20 presses, a half mile walk, 20 rounds. And I find that really invigorating and great for body composition and just over how you look. So yeah, Michael, I'm a big fan. I think I understand what you're talking about. That's always difficult, but if you can give me any follow-up clarity, I'd really appreciate it. So thank you. All right. We have a question from Chris. What's your opinion on 0-calorie sodas and energy drinks in a fat loss phase instead of black coffee or tea? Well, this cost me practically nothing. Your drinks cost a lot of money. There's my opinion. I can only say what I've read, but I've heard that those diet soft drinks, the amount of chemicals that are in them, probably has a hit on your liver. Just all the toxic chemicals. I was told one time that they add, now we called it liquid K when I worked in the cheese factory, but it's a common dishwasher substance that makes water wetter. And we were told that this substance that's in dishwashers is put into soft drinks to keep the soft drink from solidifying in the can. So I'm not a big fan of any of that stuff because, and maybe I'm just being some 60s hippie or something, but there's an image I never thought I'd say about myself. But the chemicals, they've got to add up somehow. So I like coffee and I like tea for the antioxidants that come in them. And the drinks you're talking about, if there are antioxidants, it's been added. And once you start having to add stuff to bring it back, it's like when I was young, they started adding vitamins and minerals to flour because they had completely taken them all out and then they dusted a few back on. I just don't think that's a good way to work with nature. So obviously there's 0 calories, and if the bathtub model, calories in, calories out, is true, it should have no impact on your body composition goals. It'll trend you to the other direction. There is a diet drink that I think is really good, and I drink it when I'm trying not to drink alcohol. But I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to, unless they send me a check. So yeah, I think I mean, I get why you do it, but at the same time, when you look at things like longevity and body health, maybe you want to think about it. I didn't say it was bad or good. I just said I don't really know that much. Okay, thank you. We have a question from Justin. Would you please comment on the use of weighted step-ups using a backpack or weight vest as a conditioning tool for those days when you can't get outside to go for a walk or ruck? As long as it's safe. I mean, I wouldn't go with a really huge step. I mean, I would keep the steps something really, really reasonable, because when you have a load on your back, if one rep, you look over here because someone walked in and that swings the ruck, and you stumble off of a big box, so that would be bad. I think it's interesting. When I was young, we used to get tested with something called the Harvard step test, and I can just tell you this from the heart. Once you've done one step test, it's the most boring thing I ever did in my life. You won't do very many. I mean, if you have the courage to be able to step on and off a block in training with a load, I mean, God bless you. You're a better man than I, Gunga did, Yeah, it makes sense. I understand why you do it. I imagine it would be one step from watching paint dry on a wall, but hey, I get it. When you have to make things work, you make things work, and that's kind of something I spend a lot of time thinking about, is getting around things like weather and bad equipment and all the rest. So, Justin, if you can do it, tip of the hat to you, my friend. Thank you. I hope that helped. We have a question from Fergal. He says, thoughts on the kettlebell outside the leg clean and or swing. Okay, I don't like it. That's not the way I was taught. And when people start doing it, they need to focus so hard on not banging the outside of their knees that I don't think you get the intensity. But we'll keep reading your question. I have noticed I am a lot more comfortable cleaning from outside my legs. Really? Feet together, kettlebells outside each leg. It feels good to me. And Fergal, and if you don't mind, let's go back to the mid-1970s. If it feels good, do it. It's not the way I teach it. It's not the way I do it myself, but I certainly understand there's 7 billion of us on this planet, and not everybody looks and moves the same way I do. So I always appreciate when I hear something like this and it works better. I have also tried this setup with swings and it feels more stable. What is any downside of this technique? Your hinge will be a little bit more like a standing long jump hinge. So you got to make sure you push your butt back and just don't let the bell's momentum back. The nice thing about putting the bell between your legs is it's really easy for me to coach the hinge. When I see people do it double outside, boy, that hinge becomes difficult because the bells are in the way of the buttocks, so I can't really tell. I mean, if it's something you're going to do and it keeps you working out, Fergal, do it. I wouldn't coach it that way. I wouldn't do it myself. But not one time did I say it was wrong. Okay, I kind of hope that helps. If you get a chance and you want to send me a video, I'd like to see exactly how you're doing it. I'd like to see it from the side and from the back, just to get a sense of things. I know what you're talking about. I want to look for your hinge. Okay, thank you. We have a question from Alex. That's an interesting question. There's a chance of having to spend 6 months in a dorm-style room at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia. I know a lot of people who spend 6 months in dorms on the other side of law enforcement. Because of COVID, I'll be spending almost all my waking hours, besides class time, in that room. I believe I will be able to bring some personal items, but I am concerned about maintaining my level of fitness. Can you recommend resources or a plan to work around this? My listeners are all going, oh no, he's going to say it again. Basic information is a 30-year-old male, pretty high fitness level. I have the following exercise equipment that I could probably bring: kettlebells, 35, 53, and 70, resistant bands and glute loops, TRX, and furniture sliders. Okay, I'm going to tell you what to do. I want you to go to danjohnuniversity.com. Get the free membership. Go in, plug in the first thing the generator is going to ask you is what equipment you have, and you're going to either press the buttons or click kettlebells, resistant band, glute loop, TRX, and we also have sliders in there. And then I would suggest, because you're locked down, I'd suggest working out 5 days a week. I'd suggest working out an hour a day. Press the button and boom, it's going to give you all the workouts you can possibly think about. The nice thing about it, it's also going to give you a lot of variations in the different movements. You're exactly the kind of person, Alex, that Brian and I were thinking about when we came up with the workout generator. Let me be clear about what I just said. I came up with the exercises and the big vision. Brian did all the hard work of taking my vision and making it clear and obvious to the rest of you. I can't recommend it enough. If you want to be a member, I salute you. And if you have any issues financially, you ping me an email and I'll help you any way I can. All right? And good luck with all this. Mentally, I could see myself doing lots of clean and press with those kettlebells, lots of swings. I'd be doing millions of hip thrusts and clamshells, and I'd be doing the T, the Y, and the I a lot, and I'd be using those furniture sliders for like a variation of the bear hug carry. And trust me, bear hug crawl. Put your hands on the ground and just slide in your hands, put your feet on them, drag, just go back and forth your dorm room. I'm sure the people below you will be very happy. And good luck with this. You are definitely a COVID frontliner here. And thank you. We have a question from Christian. I had a quick question on deadlifting. As I approach my 1 to 2 rep max, my left hand really loses its grip on the bar. My legs can handle the weight, but the left side of my body really starts to struggle. For reference, I'm 5'9", 155, and this happens when I'm lifting 225 to 245 on the deadlift. I have started incorporating loaded carries. I can see them helping with grip strength already. Do you have any other advice? Yeah, Christian. Really, the advice is what Dick Nottmeyer told me. So I've only deadlifted heavy. I used to think it was 3 times, and then I forgot. My daughter reminded me, actually, for a fundraiser one time, I pulled 600 without training. Just before I deadlifted a new gym record, because I'd never deadlifted, as I walked over, Dick Nottmeyer said, oh, don't hold it in a clean grip. Do the reverse grip. And the first thing is, are you using what I call the standard reverse grip? One hand grabs the bar in a curl grip, the other hand grabs the bar in a deadlift grip. That worked miracles with my grip on deadlifts. I couldn't believe something that simple would make a difference in my grip. Next, you might want to experiment with something called the hook grip, which we use in the Olympic lifts. I don't want to go through it now, but I'm sure you could probably Google it and get plenty of information. The hook grip. And then the other thing I'd like you to think about is when you do farmer walks, does the left side bail out before the right side? Because if it doesn't, it's something maybe as simple as using the deadlift grip. Those are okay suggestions. One thing I would recommend, especially if you're doing 5s a lot in your training, is use straps sometimes when you deadlift, because you don't want the grip to give out while your back and lats and everything else are still kind of fresh. That's helped me with some of the people I work with. It's interesting when I teach people to deadlift, I go to kind of 2 extremes. I have them either use thick bar deadlifts, which makes you have perfect technique, or I have them use straps, kind of a total opposite. The one is grip deadly, and the other one's no grip at all. So I hope that helps. And get back to me. I'd like to hear how this is going. Thank you. We have a question from Charlie. Hi, Charlie. My son recently introduced me to Easy Strength, and I've been following your podcast. I'm 63, a delightful age. And I used to compete in shot put, discus, and hammer in college and into my 40s. And I'm wondering, Charlie, if we ever bumped into each other. I'm a class of 79 discus thrower for Utah State University. I still enjoy weight training and Olympic lifting, but I find my age to catch up with me in a bad way. I'm walking with you, my friend. I have a few nagging injuries and about 40 pounds to lose. I have 28% body fat. 40 pounds to lose and you're at 28% body fat? I'd get that body fat rechecked if it's 40 pounds because it was just a math issue, don't worry. What type of program would you recommend I follow to lose weight, increase mobility and flexibility, and maintain strength? Well, Charlie, I hate to do this once again, but this is what we set Dan John University up to do. Go to danjohnuniversity.com, sign up for the free membership. It's going to keep you 2 weeks. Go to the workout generator, type in the exercise, the equipment you have, fill out 3 to 5 days a week, and we're going to get you a program that's going to work on all 4 of those in a very systematic, intelligent approach. Basically, I'm going to tell you, you got to do mobility work at the same time you do some hypertrophy work. The hypertrophy work and the mobility will help you with the body comp issues, and so will, being wiser in the kitchen. And then on strength, the training will help you maintain strength. Also, too, if you went back and you read the research from the 50s, you would find out that you're probably stronger, Charlie, than anybody else you know who's 63, because once you get those strength levels up, they maintain a lot throughout your life. So you stay ahead. And that's why it's so important to get strong in your youth, because that strength gap that you're above a normal person remains for the rest of your life. So I hope that helps. If that's not clear enough for you, get back to me and we'll give you some specifics, okay? Well, there you go. Hard to believe, but podcast number 79 is in the books. Listen, if you have a question, email me at podcast@danjohnuniversity.com, and I'll do my best to answer each and every one of your questions. We get a lot of repeat questions, so make sure you go down to my page on YouTube and scroll around and see if I've already covered a lot of them already. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.